Most people think intelligence is about IQ. It is not. The people who stay calm under pressure, think clearly, and seem impossible to manipulate are usually not smarter than everyone else. They just think differently. And that difference has almost nothing to do with knowledge. It has everything to do with habits, mental habits, emotional habits, behavioral habits. You are not less intelligent than the people you admire. You are just processing situations differently than they are. Here are 5 mental habits that separate the people who stay composed, sharp, and emotionally controlled from the people constantly ruled by impulse, ego, and reaction. Chapter 1. The Trap of Always Needing to Win. Most people walk into a disagreement with one goal: to be right, to win, to prove the other person wrong. So they argue harder, they get louder, they dig in deeper, and nothing changes. The other person just becomes more defensive. People who constantly need to win conversations are usually protecting something fragile. Sharp people do something different. They get curious instead of combative. They ask real questions. Tell me more about that. Help me understand what you are seeing. Not as manipulation, as a genuine attempt to understand. And here is what happens. People open up. The defensiveness drops. The real conversation begins. When someone feels genuinely heard, they start examining their own thinking themselves. You did not force them to change. You created the conditions where they could. The need to win every argument is not intelligence. It is insecurity disguised as confidence. Real confidence is comfortable enough to learn from people. Chapter 2. Zooming out when everyone else is drowning. One bad result and most people spiral. One rejection and they decide they are not good enough. One difficult week and suddenly the story becomes everything is falling apart. They take one moment and build an entire identity around it. One bad moment becomes dangerous only when you turn it into a story about who you are. The ability to zoom out changes everything. When something goes wrong, the untrained mind asks, "Why does this always happen to me?" The trained mind asks, "What is this actually trying to teach me?" Every setback carries information. Every failure points towards something, a gap, a pattern, something worth adjusting. Problems do not shrink when you panic. They expand until that is all you can see. But the moment you step back and ask what you can actually control, the problem changes shape. It becomes smaller, more manageable, less of a threat and more of a puzzle. And puzzles can be solved. Panic solves nothing. Chapter 3. The energy you stop wasting on things you cannot touch. Think about how much mental energy goes toward things completely outside your control. What people think of you, whether your anxiety will come true, how someone else will behave. Most anxiety is an attempt to control a future that does not exist yet. And all of that mental activity produces nothing. It does not change the outcome. It just drains you. And exhausted people think worse. Less patience, less clarity, less emotional control, less ability to respond well when life actually requires something from them. The habit is simple. Before you spend energy on anything, ask one question. Can I actually influence this? If yes, act. Put your energy there. If no, release it. Not because it does not matter, because holding on to what you cannot change does not prepare you. It just exhausts you. Your effort, your preparation, your response, your next decision. That is always enough to work with. Stop spending yourself on problems that are not yours to solve. Chapter 4. Why the quietest person is often the most powerful. Most people feel pressure to fill silence, to always have something to say, so they speak before they finish thinking. They give the first answer instead of the best one. Weak people rush to prove themselves. Calm people do not need to. Watch the people who carry the most weight in any room. They are rarely the loudest. They wait. They listen fully. They let people finish before responding. And when they finally speak, it lands differently. Because it was chosen. Because it came from thought rather than reflex. Silence is not empty. It is where clarity lives. The pause before you speak is where your best thinking happens. And when you become comfortable enough to use that pause, two things happen. Your thinking gets sharper, and people start sensing that something about you operates differently. Most people are so busy preparing their next response that they never actually hear what is being said. Real listening is rare, and because it is rare, people remember the person who gave it to them. Stop rushing to fill the silence. The silence is working for you. Chapter 5. The space between what happens and what you do next. Every day, things happen that are not part of your plan. Someone says something sharp. A situation goes sideways. And in the fraction of a second after that happens, before you react, there is a gap. A tiny space between what happened and what you choose to do next. Most people never find that space. The emotion arrives, and the reaction follows instantly. Sharp words, defensiveness, shut down, and later, in the quiet, they think about how differently they could have handled it. The habit of pausing inserts space between the trigger and the response. It is not complicated. It is not about suppressing emotion. It is simply about asking one question before you act. What response will I still respect tomorrow? 2 seconds. That is all it takes. The difference between a reaction that damages things and a response that improves them. The people who stay composed when everyone else loses control are not built differently than you. They have simply practiced the pause long enough that it became automatic, until their responses stopped reflecting temporary emotion and started reflecting the person they actually wanted to become. That is not weakness. That is self-mastery. 5 habits, not personality traits, not talents people are born with. 5 habits you can begin building immediately. Stop fighting to be right. Zoom out when everything feels catastrophic. Pull your energy away from what you cannot control. Get comfortable with silence. And find the gap between what happens and how you respond. None of this requires an overnight transformation. It requires awareness. Catch yourself in the old pattern. Pause. Choose differently. 1 moment at a time. Do that consistently, and 6 months from now, you will think differently, carry yourself differently, and respond to life differently. And if this hit something real in you, if part of this made you see yourself differently, then this channel is exactly where you belong. Every video here is built to help you think more clearly, act more deliberately, and become someone you are genuinely proud of being. Hit subscribe, show up for the next one, and start today with just one habit. That is enough.